What is your childhood experience like? You see some of us wanting to hold our parents responsible for our present situation in life. Somebody will say, I was born poor, that is why I am poor. Or somebody will tell you, this is what happened to me. I was maltreated by my uncle or by my aunt, and this is where I am. We all have our childhood experience, but your ability to overcome those experiences and take responsibility for your life is very, very important, and it's going to form the cardinal point of what you're going to achieve in life. Your ability to overcome those experiences. So today we'll be looking at the impact of our childhood experiences and how we can get over them and get the best out of life. I'll be referring us to an interesting book by Williamson. The title of the book is How to Survive Your Childhood Now That You Are an Adult, A Pathway to Authenticity and Awakening. It was written by Marianne Williamson. The book provides an insight into how we can overcome these childhood or traumatic experiences and become a better version of ourselves. We're going to look at some lessons from this book. It's going to help us overcome those challenges. First, authentic living. It is important to understand what authentic living is. Authentic living simply means taking responsibility and living in the present reality. You know, most times we tend to hide under these childhood experiences and live a lie. You need to learn to live authentically. Live your life with a true reflection of what you want as at this time. Be accountable. So it is important we take that into cognizance, authentic living. The second thing we need to do is this: healing childhood wounds. It is important we acknowledge these wounds, we acknowledge these experiences, these traumatizing experiences, to enable us heal and move on. We must acknowledge them in the perspective of when it happened, how it happened, and heal from them and move on. If we don't acknowledge them and heal from them, it will be hard for us to do what? To move on. So you must acknowledge them and thank God that you have survived that phase and then move on. It is very, very important. The third thing we need to do is self-compassion. Yes, you must be compassionate. Treat yourself with kindness. Treat yourself with kid gloves. You know, sometimes those experiences we had while growing up or through traumatic situations were because we're unable to handle them. We don't have the knowledge that we have now. Now that you have that knowledge, you must learn to treat yourself with kindness and learn to do what? Move on. Have compassion on yourself. Don't criticize yourself. Don't go against yourself. Don't foster hatred. We must learn to do what? Acknowledge this and do what? Move on. Self-compassion. The next thing we need to look at, to think about, or to do is we must learn forgiveness. Practice forgiveness. Your ability to forgive whoever caused that traumatic experience is very, very important. You know, most times those traumatic experiences were caused by either our caregivers, our uncles, our aunties, or people that are older than us. They caused these experiences while we were growing up. So we must learn to forgive them, because I don't think at this age that they can still do those things they did to us then. Now that you've gotten over it, you are now an adult, you must learn to leave the past in the past and move on. It is important because when you don't leave the past, when you keep dragging the past, it's going to affect your now and your future. So learn to forgive those caregivers, those uncles, those aunties, or those relations that caused those traumatic experience. Forgiveness is very, very important. The next thing we need to do is mindfulness and the present. It is important. I talked about being in the present. It's a reality you need to understand. Be mindful of the position or the place where you are today and the present. You should take into cognizance you are no longer a child, you are now an adult. Now that you've gotten here, acknowledge the fact and move on with this experience that you have now. With the knowledge that you have now, be mindful in the present so that you can impart your future. It is important because when you're not mindful of the present, when you still live in the past, you will not be able to have a fruitful and eventful life. So be mindful of the present and live in the present reality. The next thing we need to look at is personal responsibility. It is important. Learn to take responsibility of your life. Most times we tend to shift responsibility. I'm like this because of my parents, or I'm like this because of how I grew up. No, take personal responsibility. It is important. If you take personal responsibility of your life, you will not be subject to anybody derailing you from the purpose that you've set out for yourself. It is important. The next thing we want to talk about is emotional honesty. It is important you acknowledge your innermost feelings. You acknowledge your feeling. Don't try to suppress them. Face them and use them as launching pad and create a better world that you want for yourself. Emotional honesty. Don't hide away from the hurt. Don't hide away from the pain. Don't hide away from the feelings that you're having. Acknowledge them, but be able to overcome them and channel them towards becoming a better person. It is very, very important you do that for you to overcome those childhood traumatic experiences. Another thing I want to talk about is spiritual guidance. It is important. You see, spiritual guidance is not being a slave to somebody, but understanding that you have a higher being that controls the affair or controls things around you. Look for such persons, not persons that will derail you from your purpose, or people that will encourage you in attaining that goal that you want to attain. Spiritual guidance is important. Emotional guidance is important. Psychological guidance is important. Mental guidance is important. And most of these things you can get them by being true to yourself and pursuing dreams that align with the purpose that you want to achieve in the long run. It is very, very important. Then finally, I will say this. Most of us have some experience that are very, very bad. Trying to overcome them on our own might be difficult, or trying to forgive the perpetrators or some of the caregivers or uncle might be very, very difficult. For such persons that have such experience, I will encourage you to seek help. You can seek help from a psychologist, or you can seek help from a higher person, someone that you know that is experienced enough in such field to give you the right advice. Not people that will put you back to that your cocoon and destroy your self-confidence. It is important. Like I said, seek help. And when you seek help, be mindful of the people you're going to seek help from so that they will not derail you. The important thing you and I need to understand is your life is your responsibility. Your future is your responsibility. What you want to achieve in life is your responsibility. Don't give that responsibility to somebody else. Don't wait for somebody else to put you in the right track for things you want to achieve. This childhood experience might be traumatic, they might be painful, but in the long run, the life is yours to live. So I encourage you, whatever those experiences are, it is yours to overcome. The present belongs to you, and the future is yours to conquer. We're going to stop here for now. Don't forget to like, don't forget to comment, don't forget to share. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you.